Mainz and Money London, welcome ladies and gentlemen. And with me here is now one of the keynote speakers, Ronald Stöferle out of Vienna, the co-author from the very famous report In Gold We Trust. And of course we want to talk about his new report, which is laying here on the table, and also about recession, probably inflation, deflation, whatever comes up. Ronnie, great to have you here. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Thanks.
Yeah, let's get into that. Your latest, I would say, Gold Bible is out, and I think you get a lot of traction.
Yeah, well, I think it's finally the party is starting. In the last gold report, we said that once we're above this massive resistance at 1360, 1380, there will be momentum kicking in, yeah, and we pretty much caught that. Gold went up to 1570, big move, lots of fear of missing out, people that were standing on the sidelines and then wanted to enter the field, but the price was just rising too quickly. Now, we said that gold is already in a bull market in most currencies. Actually, you know, gold is trading at all-time highs in 52 currencies at the moment, in euro terms, Canadian dollars, Australian dollars. But everybody's just staring at the dollar price of gold. And now we are trading in a bull market in dollar terms too. So I think this is really the beginning of a bigger move. I can tell you that many analysts, but also many generalists are coming into the market, are getting more positive. The family office space is getting more active. We're seeing more and more mergers and acquisitions. So I think 2020 will be a fun year for us.
I love to hear that finally, after being like 6-7 years in the penalty box, I would say. I have the feeling, after listening to several of your fantastic speeches and keynote speeches, that you are the only one who's talking about upcoming recession, probably. Why do you think the recession is really upcoming? Because stock markets are going higher and higher. I think the Dow just marked the all-time high he ever had, yeah?
Well, of course, I think one of the main reasons for the all-time highs in equity markets is the fact that we're seeing stock buybacks at an enormous amount. Yeah. So actually the share count in the US equity markets, for example, is down significantly. So
and some of them is on credit, right?
Of course, yeah, of course.
That is ridiculous.
So I don't know if that's like a bull market like we used to have them back in the days. But from my point of view, within an economic cycle, it's just normal to have a recession. The recession is nothing to be scared of. It is just something healthy for the capital structure. Yeah. It is a reallocation of resources. And I think there are many, many signs that we are seeing, and for some reasons the market is not really seeing it yet. First of all, we're in an earnings recession. Then we have seen the yield curve inversion. We're seeing actually that it's some sort of a global cooling. Many countries in the Eurozone are already in a recession. In Asia, markets like South Korea that are highly sensitive to the economy are not doing so well. Of course, we've got the whole trade war and so on. And therefore, I think, you know, a recession is already building, might be around the corner, and of course Donald Trump doesn't want to face a recession in the course of the next couple of quarters, because 2020 is an election year. Yeah. So he will do everything he can to fight this recession. I'm just not sure if he's really able to win this fight.
Yeah, especially now with Michael Bloomberg stepping into the game, it looks like so. But that's another theme, I would call it. I just saw this morning a comment on one of our videos we did in Munich, and this guy said, "Oh, I'm missing Ronnie's gold estimate." So what's the price target for gold?
I don't have an official price target. We always said...
Tell us the unofficial.
We're in a bull market, yeah, that's for sure. And I think that people shouldn't get too greedy. Gold is up 17% in dollar terms this year. It's a tremendous year. It is up 20% in euro terms. It is up in every major currency. And if we will be trading next year, when we hopefully sit here at 1700 or 1800, I don't know.
That would be great, yeah.
But I think it's I think the important message is that we are in a bull market, and this bull market is driven by extremely expensive and extremely aggressive central bank action that is already discounted by the market.
Yeah.
So my speech today, or also in the last couple of shows, the title was "Gold, the Seventh Sense of Financial Markets." So it means that gold is kind of sniffing out and discounting a macro shift, and we're in the middle of this macro shift, and I think that recession risks, but also inflation, rising inflation, are the main drivers for gold going forward. And if you listen to Mrs. Lagarde, for example, what she's saying about QE for the people, MMT, or Eurobonds, for example, it is not a conspiracy theory. It is not something that is just written on some random blogs. It is going to happen. And the combination of fiscal stimulus and more aggressive monetary measures like QE for the people will have a much more direct on inflation than traditional quantitative easing. So from my point of view, this is going to be the major driver, and inflation will be one of our main concerns next year.
Yeah, and I saw already last week an advertising through Google Ads from a consumer credit portal where they said, yeah, if you get a credit from us, pay less back.
Yeah.
How does that work? It's impossible.
It cannot work, yeah. And I think that there are economic laws, and those economic laws work like gravity, for example. Yeah. So through extreme monetary measures, you can perhaps delay the consequences, but those economic laws will reappear sooner or later. So. Of course, I mean, negative yielding bonds, you know, at the moment there's, I think, 13 trillion in negative yielding bonds.
And rising.
Just to give you a perspective, that's the total GDP of Japan, the UK, India, and Germany. So those are really big numbers. Now, what is the biggest pain trade for those 13 trillion? It is rising inflation. So if there's a shift out of those bonds into other markets, like, for example, gold, which, as we all know, is a pretty good hedge in times of rising inflation, this will really be a major boost for the market, and this is something that I'm seeing on the horizon.
Absolutely. Last question, what are the predictions for 2020? I know you are always putting up like 10 to 12 predictions, but maybe the most important ones, aside that Austria might be a European Championship winner?
Not winner, just quarterfinals.
I want to hear that.
I said Austria will go to the quarterfinals, and that's
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. No, I'm seeing a falling gold-silver ratio, so silver will outperform gold. I'm seeing lots of opportunities in the copper space, actually, based on a commitment of traders report. It's really exciting what we're seeing in copper markets, but also in some other base metals. I'm seeing a recession in the US, probably third or fourth quarter next year. I don't think that Donald Trump will be re-elected. I'm seeing a slightly stronger euro versus the US dollar, so I think that the US dollar is in the process of rolling over. Yeah, those are like the main calls, and we're also pretty optimistic on Bitcoin. We think that Bitcoin will make new all-time highs.
Whoa, okay. So by the way, one last question on that. What do you think about that Libra stuff from Facebook? I just read this morning that they have a lot of problems. Partners are running away. Governments are against it. So, because when you say Bitcoin is so positive.
Yeah, but Libra is not really a cryptocurrency. It is basically a blockchain-based alternative currency that reminds me very much of some normal currencies. So I think it's interesting to have a look at the hearings where Mark Zuckerberg really got criticized by US representatives saying very openly, okay, you shouldn't mess around with us, because we are printing the world reserve currency. And it's no coincidence that many important companies out of that consortium, like MasterCard, Visa, that they got out of it. I think there was quite some pressure on them. Absolutely. So I think it's not going to be something that we should follow too closely.
Okay, super. Ronny, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All the
Jochen.
best. Merry
Thank
Christmas.
You. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it was Ronald Stöferle, the co-author from In Gold We Trust out of Vienna. And yeah, you heard it. His predictions, well, let's put it aside of that Austria goes into the quarterfinals. We hope for that, of course. But Bitcoin, copper, gold, silver, all that stuff is hot in 2020. So we will see. I would suggest you make sure that you download this report from our website, from his website. No problem. It's everywhere available for free. And really read through it. It's a fantastic booklet with tons of information, and you understand the markets much, much better afterwards. Thanks, and bye-bye from London.